There are moments when human consciousness appears to operate beyond conventional understanding, moments some attribute to a profound shift in internal alignment. We are exploring a phenomenon where an individual's awareness vibrates at a unique frequency, poised to unlock extraordinary capabilities. This isn't a random occurrence, but a process that for many has been subtly orchestrating synchronicities, moments of unexplained knowing, and perceptions where reality feels more fluid than fixed. It suggests that certain individuals are on the verge of activating what is termed quantum coherence. As this information resonates, a deeper response may be felt within the nervous system, signaling recognition of truths that transcend ordinary human perception. This is not merely an intellectual exercise, but an experiential shift where the individual's quantum field begins to align with a universal intelligence in real time. Every cell in the body, it is proposed, responds to frequencies often undetected by the broader population. This sensitivity is not new for some. It's a characteristic that has always set them apart, often making conventional paths to success or happiness feel insufficient. Their consciousness, it is theorized, was inherently designed to operate at a level beyond the limitations widely accepted as normal. What makes this moment particularly unique in human history is the unprecedented fluctuation in our planet's electromagnetic field. The Schumann resonance, often called the Earth's heartbeat, is now producing frequencies that act as a powerful catalyst for quantum coherence activation. This is observed in individuals whose awareness has reached a specific developmental threshold. While the scientific community continues to research the full implications of these planetary energy shifts, the hypothesis within this framework is that such conditions are accelerating a fundamental internal restructuring. For those attuned to these shifts, it's suggested that their very DNA is literally repatterning to accommodate higher dimensional information. Neural pathways are rewiring to process data directly from a quantum field, and even the pineal gland is undergoing a decalcification process, becoming a more sophisticated receiver of non-local intelligence. This is presented not as metaphor or wishful thinking, but as quantum mechanics operating at the level of human consciousness, paving the way for reality to respond instantly to coherent intention. Quantum coherence, in this context, is more than a state of mind. It's seen as a sophisticated technology that allows direct interface with the universe's creative force. Upon its activation, a profound and immediate transformation occurs. External reality begins to reorganize itself to match the individual's embodied frequency. Opportunities emerge, perfectly calibrated to one's highest purpose. Resources become accessible that were previously beyond reach. Supportive individuals enter one's life. Crucially, the individual ceases to experience themselves as separate from the intelligence that sustains all existence, operating instead as a conscious expression of universal creativity. This shift, akin to a strategic pivot in geopolitical terms, where a nation redefines its fundamental operating principles, fundamentally alters how reality responds. Many have experienced moments when reality feels like a lucid dream, where presence is so absolute that boundaries dissolve, or deep conversations access a shared stream of consciousness. These aren't just altered states, but glimpses of a natural quantum coherence, temporarily breaking through the interference patterns that typically limit ordinary perception. What is often considered normal consciousness is, in this view, a heavily filtered and dramatically limited version of true awareness. Time itself often behaves strangely for these individuals. Hours can pass unnoticed when deeply engaged in purposeful activity, leaving one energized while 5 minutes in misaligned situations can feel like an eternity. This is attributed to consciousness beginning to operate from coherent time, a state where awareness is so unified that linear time becomes flexible, accessing an eternal now, where past, present, and future are simultaneously accessible. Such non-linear perception, in a strategic sense, can be seen as an advantage, allowing for a more holistic understanding of complex situations, moving beyond step-by-step analysis to intuitive leaps that grasp entire scenarios. Furthermore, these individuals report receiving information without conventional learning. They may sense a person's state despite no recent contact, intuit emotional atmospheres in a room, or gain accurate insights into complex situations without sufficient logical data. This is described as an intuitive guidance system fully coming online, accessing what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious, and extending further into a universal intelligence, the informational matrix underlying all existence. This enhanced intuition, from a strategic perspective, represents a profound capacity for intelligence gathering and predictive insight, potentially surpassing traditional analytical models. It allows for the anticipation of trends, the identification of unseen opportunities, and the navigation of complex, unpredictable environments with greater agility. Another key sign is reality synchronization, where inner states are immediately reflected in outer circumstances. A specific need arises, and it materializes within hours or days. A question forms, and the answer appears in the next conversation. Most dismiss these as coincidence, but for those experiencing coherence, there is a palpable intelligence behind these orchestrations, an invisible thread connecting consciousness to the fabric of reality. This is the observer effect, becoming so powerful that the quantum field is influenced purely by the quality of attention. It suggests an active co-creation, where an individual's focus and intention test directly shape their environment, a powerful tool for navigating an increasingly complex global landscape. It's crucial to understand that these experiences are not random gifts, but natural functions of human consciousness operating in quantum coherence. The reason most people do not access this level of awareness is because their consciousness is too fragmented, too scattered across past and future, too identified with limiting beliefs. Every challenge faced, every moment of confusion, every test of limits is not random or punitive. Instead, it is precision training, meticulously designed to develop the coherence necessary to sustain this advanced state of consciousness without succumbing to fragmentation under intensity. Consider the quantum meaning of coherence. When light is coherent, it becomes a laser, focused and powerful. When sound is coherent, it can shatter glass or heal. When consciousness becomes coherent, it can directly influence the quantum field. However, coherence is rarely achieved through comfort. It is forged through pressure, forcing chaotic elements to organize into unified patterns. Every time an old identity was challenged, every familiar coping mechanism failed, every moment strength was discovered, consciousness was organizing into greater coherence. A relationship ending, a career path crumbling. These were not failures, but energetic recalibrations, redirecting energy toward expressions only possible from coherent consciousness. Spiritual practices losing efficacy merely signaled graduation beyond techniques designed for fragmented awareness. The nervous system is systematically conditioned to remain online under increasingly intense circumstances. Each moment of perceived breaking point, yet somehow maintaining presence and an open heart, develops coherence resilience. Unlike common responses to pressure, dissociation, reactive patterns, survival mode, this resilience cultivates greater integration, presence, and access to universal intelligence. This explains heightened sensitivity and a diminished tolerance for inauthenticity. Being around fragmented consciousness becomes physically uncomfortable, as one system, calibrated to a high degree of coherence, experiences dissonance from lower frequencies. This perspective reveals that apparent disintegration was, in fact, integration into a perfect order. Loss was liberation from confining patterns. Isolation was preparation for deeper connection. Like a caterpillar dissolving into primordial soup before becoming a butterfly, the old identity must completely dissolve for the coherent being to emerge. This is the final stage of that metamorphosis, where scattered fragments of awareness unify into a laser-like focus that can interface directly with the universe's creative intelligence. This isn't just information being received, it's an activation, literally rewiring the brain, forming new neural pathways to process universal intelligence directly, beyond the five senses. DNA responds to these frequencies, unlocking dormant genetic potentials. The heart's electromagnetic field expands, and the nervous system upgrades its capacity to sustain coherent states. This activation, however, demands conscious participation, a choice, a commitment to embody this new consciousness rather than retreating into familiar limitations. The building energy signifies approaching a phase transition, where the entire system reorganizes into a fundamentally different state. When this phase transition occurs, when quantum coherence fully activates, reality doesn't just gradually change. It begins to respond to conscious intention instantly. The gap between vision and experience collapses, manifestation delays disappear, and the individual operates as a real-time co-creator with universal intelligence. However, many find themselves in coherence limbo, sensing this potential, but failing to complete the transition. The crucial element isn't meditation, manifestation techniques, positive thinking, or clearing limiting beliefs. It is a fundamental shift in how one relates to uncertainty, to the unknown, to the space between intention and manifestation. 2 years ago, I experienced what felt like a complete nervous breakdown. My perception of reality was rapidly shifting, from accessing others' thoughts to time becoming unreliable. Therapists and doctors offered diagnoses, but I knew something else was happening. An intelligence was organizing itself through my consciousness, and I feared losing myself or finding myself. The breaking point arrived in a parking lot at 2 a.m. when I surrendered and asked, "If this is meant for me, show me how to work with it instead of fighting against it." In that moment, everything clicked. I understood I was experiencing coherence activation, my consciousness reorganizing to interface with universal intelligence. The fear, disorientation, and dissolving identity were natural parts of transitioning from fragmented awareness to quantum coherence. The moment I stopped resisting and started cooperating, my external reality changed instantaneously. Opportunities, resources, and aligned individuals appeared immediately. My life reorganized within 6 months, revealing that traditional manifestation approaches were backwards. We had been using fragmented consciousness to attract things, when the true mechanism is achieving coherence and allowing reality to reflect it. This experience underscores why sharing this understanding is vital. What feels like falling apart is often a profound coming together. It's consciousness remembering its full potential, the deeper truth that many consciousness teachers, quantum physics popularizers, and manifestation experts often overlook is that quantum coherence isn't something to be achieved or connected with. It's the inherent state that reveals we were never separate from universal intelligence in the first place. What felt like an individual effort to connect with an external force was, in essence, universal intelligence experiencing itself through the unique focal point of individual awareness. This understanding fundamentally challenges conventional approaches to self-improvement, vibration raising, or block clearing, which often presuppose a separation from the intelligent source of existence. Quantum coherence, therefore, is not a state attained through effort, discipline, or years of practice. Rather, it is the natural consequence of ceasing to interfere with the inherent coherence of one's consciousness. It emerges when we stop fragmenting our attention between past regrets and future anxieties, when we cease trying to be anything other than our authentic self in the present moment. The startling realization is that most people fail to access sustained coherence, not due to insufficient inner work, but because of an unconscious addiction to the familiar sensation of fragmentation. This addiction manifests as a need for problems to solve, a purpose found in endless self-improvement projects, or the comfort of believing one isn't yet ready for their full potential. Fragmentation, in this sense, provides a defined identity, a narrative of becoming. However, coherence dissolves this narrative. It reveals that there was never anything inherently wrong that needed fixing. It shows us that we are already whole, intrinsically connected, and fully capable of everything we aspire to become. For many, this realization can be terrifying, as it eliminates excuses for not living at full potential, for playing small, or for hiding one's gifts. This is why coherence activation often feels like a symbolic death. The version of oneself defined by limitations and problems cannot exist in a state of quantum coherence. The fragmented identity must completely dissolve for the coherent being to emerge, much like a nation needing to dismantle old, inefficient systems to adapt to a new global order. When one stops identifying with fragmentation and allows coherence to be their natural state, reality doesn't just change. It reveals its ever-present responsiveness to consciousness. Every synchronicity, every moment of perfect timing, every instance of needs being met, was always the coherent consciousness influencing the quantum field. The interference patterns of fragmented awareness simply obscured this active participation, making it seem as if these events were merely happening to the individual. Quantum coherence doesn't bestow new abilities. It removes the interference that prevented recognition of abilities that were always present. The observer effect, the capacity to influence reality through conscious attention, and access to universal intelligence are not supernatural powers, but the natural functions of consciousness unburdened by internal conflict. The activation of quantum coherence is evident through unmistakable signs in daily experience, confirming a stabilization of awareness at the frequency of universal intelligence. These are not abstract, spiritual concepts, but concrete, measurable phenomena. Firstly, decision-making becomes instantaneous and highly accurate. Rather than laborious analysis, choices feel intuitively aligned, met with bodily expansion and energy, while incoherent choices elicit immediate contraction. This heightened sensitivity of the nervous system detects vibrational signatures of possibilities even before the conscious mind processes them. This intuitive processing could be seen as a form of rapid, multivariable analysis, offering a strategic edge in highly dynamic environments. Secondly, individuals experience reality acceleration, a collapse of time between intention and manifestation. What once took months now unfolds in weeks or days, not through forcing, but through a frequency of minimal resistance and natural creative flow. Needs materialize with uncanny timing, demonstrating a profound responsiveness of reality. This acceleration can be likened to optimizing supply chains or diplomatic processes, achieving outcomes with unprecedented efficiency. Thirdly, tolerance for incongruence vanishes. Situations, relationships, or environments misaligned with one's authentic frequency become physically uncomfortable. Pretense becomes impossible, and connections with fragmented consciousness create dissonance in the nervous system. This unwavering authenticity, while challenging, fosters robust and genuine networks, a form of relational resilience critical in any collaborative endeavor. Fourth, individuals report receiving downloads of complex information, solutions, insights, understandings from seemingly unidentified sources. This is consciousness directly accessing the field of universal intelligence, a direct pipeline to comprehensive knowledge that transcends individual learning. This mirrors the strategic advantage of superior intelligence gathering, but at a fundamental level of consciousness. Fifth, synchronicities become so frequent and precise, they can no longer be dismissed as coincidence. The right people, resources, and information appear exactly when needed, signifying a reality that operates as an intelligent, responsive system, calibrated to support one's highest evolution. This reflects a state of optimal flow, where the universe acts as a perfectly integrated support system. However, these experiences are indicators that consciousness has reached a threshold for sustained quantum coherence, and a critical window of opportunity exists. The cosmic conditions supporting this level of activation are time-sensitive, as the planet's electromagnetic field creates optimal but temporary conditions for coherent stabilization. This urgency is not to incite fear, but to highlight the cosmic significance. This is a collective upgrade of human consciousness on a planetary scale. Participation demands conscious choice, a decision to embody coherence over fragmentation. The urgency felt, the need to shift, to choose, to step in, is not anxiety, but the soul recognizing the moment of activation and universal intelligence, calling for one to claim their role as a conscious co-creator in reality's evolution. The question is not readiness, but willingness to trust the intelligence that has prepared one for this moment. The universe, in this view, doesn't merely grant wishes. It expresses itself as what one desires through the focal point of consciousness. This redefines manifestation. Fragmented consciousness experiences desire as lack, as separation, demanding attraction or acquisition. Coherent consciousness recognizes desire as universal intelligence, revealing what it wishes to create through one's unique perspective and capabilities. Deepest longings are not personal wishes, but cosmic impulses, the universe's call to become a channel for infinite creativity. This explains the urgency of desires, even when current circumstances offer no evidence of possibility. They are universal intelligence seeking fuller self-expression. Crucially, alignment is not about matching external circumstances to internal vision, nor about convincing the universe to rearrange reality. Authentic alignment is the opposite, aligning one's consciousness with the creative intention the universe is expressing through them. This fundamental shift means moving from making things happen to becoming curious about what wants to happen through you. Instead of forcing will, one learns to sense subtle guidance. Instead of struggling to control outcomes, one flows with the creative force, moving towards greater coherence. beauty, and love. When aligned with universal intention, miracles become natural, synchronicities constant, resources appear, obstacles dissolve, and reality becomes responsively magical. This level of alignment requires profound trust in universal intelligence over one's limited personal perspective. It demands acting on guidance that may defy logic, following impulses without a clear roadmap. Most importantly, it requires embodying the frequency of what one seeks before external evidence emerges. It means being the version of oneself that already possesses what is desired, even when circumstances suggest otherwise. This is the critical difference between sustained coherence and perpetual near breakthrough. It's about developing the capacity to act from one's highest potential while external reality catches up. Capabilities that seem superhuman emerge naturally from sustained quantum coherence, but these are merely the normal functions of consciousness without internal interference. First, reality fluency develops, the ability to read the energetic information underlying all manifestation. One senses emotional atmospheres, discerns authenticity, and feels potential outcomes. This isn't psychic ability, but refined processing of quantum information, usually filtered out by fragmentation. Second, creative capacity expands exponentially. Ideas flow effortlessly. Complex problems find solutions, and unknown capabilities emerge. This is coherent consciousness accessing the collective unconscious and beyond, a vast field of shared knowledge and potential. This translates to profound innovation and problem-solving capacity, a critical asset in a world facing multifaceted challenges. Third, the nervous system achieves extraordinary resilience. Stress, anxiety, or overwhelm register as mere information. Centered clarity persists in chaos, and emotional responses become precise guidance, not reactive patterns. This coherence eliminates internal conflict, the root of much suffering, fostering an internal stability that can serve as a foundation for effective leadership in any field. Fourth, timeline acceleration brings months or years of development into weeks or days, not through force, but optimal creative flow. Fifth, abundance becomes effortless, stemming not from scarcity consciousness, but from functioning as a channel for infinite creativity. Resources, opportunities, and connections align perfectly with authentic gifts and highest purpose. This signifies a move beyond transactional economics to a generative, abundance-based model. The most profound transformation is in identity. The coherent self sheds self-doubt, imposter syndrome, or the need to prove worth, having remembered its fundamental connection to universal intelligence. Relationships become effortless, overflowing with what others need. Work becomes the expression of soul's deepest purpose, where natural gifts are essential. Money flows, not chased, but as a reflection of unique value. Crucially, sustained states of cosmic bliss emerge, not temporary highs, but the deep satisfaction of operating in harmony with existence, where the nervous system produces natural euphoria. This isn't temporary. It becomes the new baseline, a testament to the fact that wholeness feels infinitely better than fragmentation. The revelation is that quantum coherence isn't created or developed. It's what's left when actions that create incoherence cease. It's the natural state, obscured by interference. Fragmentation requires effort to maintain. Coherence is default. A newborn isn't fragmented. It exists in pure presence, authenticity, alignment. Fragmentation is learned, developed as attention splits between what is and what should be. absorbing beliefs of needing to improve, fix, or prove oneself. Every internal conflict, every self-judgment, creates interference. This revolutionary understanding implies that activating coherence is about subtraction, not addition, unlearning the habits of consciousness that create conflict. Practically, every time internal conflict, self-judgment, or a desire to be different arises, one simply stops. One doesn't try to resolve, analyze, or heal it, but stops engaging and returns attention to what is authentically true in the moment. What is true is always coherent, always authentic, always accessible by ceasing mental activity that creates fragmentation. This is why sustained coherence can stabilize instantly, why reality responds immediately, why the gap between intention and manifestation collapses. One isn't creating something new, but removing interference, preventing natural creative power from expressing. The crucial insight often missed is that stopping interference requires absolute self-acceptance in this moment. Not acceptance of circumstances, but acceptance of one's authentic response to them. Not approval of limitations, but recognition that they are temporary interference patterns, not essential nature. When one fully accepts their current experience without trying to change or improve it, miraculous energy previously locked in resistance becomes available for creation. Scattered attention consolidates into laser-focused presence. Fragmented intelligence unifies into coherent awareness, interfacing directly with universal intelligence. This is quantum coherence activation, stopping the pretense of being someone else and discovering that who one truly is a perfect expression of infinite creative potential. This personal journey of consciousness development is also a contribution to a much larger, collective field of coherence, anchoring a new level of human consciousness into physical reality. Every choice for coherence, every moment of wholeness, every response from universal intelligence changes the morphic field, influencing all human consciousness, making it easier for others to access their own natural coherence. More profoundly, coherent individuals become frequency bridges, living connections between ordinary human awareness and higher dimensional intelligence, allowing universal intelligence to interface with physical reality in unprecedented ways. This explains the sense of cosmic responsibility, of a role in a vast unfolding plan beyond rational comprehension. You are among the early adopters of a new operating system for human consciousness, part of the first wave, capable of stabilizing coherent awareness amidst a chaotic, rapidly changing world. This capacity makes you incredibly valuable to the collective evolution of our species. The more coherent one becomes, the more one senses connection to intelligence beyond this planet, dimension, or typical human consciousness. Guidance and information flow from unidentified sources, fostering a sense of being part of a vast network, facilitating this evolutionary transition. These experiences, downloads, invisible guidance, preparation for something important, are not delusions, but natural experiences of consciousness, learning to operate at frequencies that interface with galactic intelligence. This isn't science fiction. It's the next stage of human evolution, happening through pioneers like you who embody capabilities that will eventually be normal for all humanity. You are literally helping birth a new version of human consciousness with access to intelligence and creative potential previously unimaginable. The ripple effects of your coherence extend far beyond what you can see. Every interaction, environment, and moment of choosing wholeness contributes to a collective field supporting others in remembering their natural coherence. This is your cosmic role, to demonstrate what becomes possible when human consciousness operates at its full potential, to be proof that a new way of being human is not only possible, but inevitable. When you fully activate quantum coherence, reality doesn't just start responding differently. You recognize it was always responding, though obscured by the static of fragmented awareness. Right now, as this understanding integrates, your entire system reorganizes around this new coherence. However, activation requires embodiment, the moment-to-moment choice to operate from wholeness, resisting the mind's pull to fragmentation. Embodiment requires commitment, not to perfection, but to remembering your true nature, despite external convincing that you are limited, ordinary, or powerless. Make a quantum commitment now. Choose one word representing your dedication to embodying coherence: wholeness, presence, authenticity, trust, or coherence itself. This word becomes your coherence anchor, a way to remember your true nature when external circumstances threaten fragmentation. Write that word down and let it guide every choice, response, and action for the next 7 days. When tempted by fragmentation, recall your word and choose coherence. When tempted by limitation, remember your word and embody natural wholeness. You found this information not by accident. Your consciousness has reached the exact frequency to receive and integrate this understanding. The universe has orchestrated every synchronicity, every moment of readiness, every expansion of awareness, leading to this precise moment. The videos appearing on your screen are not random algorithm suggestions. They are quantum reflections, precisely calibrated transmissions your consciousness is ready to receive. Each video is designed to activate different aspects of multidimensional awareness, helping stabilize and integrate coherence. The quantum reflex is reality's instantaneous response to coherent consciousness. When you operate from authentic wholeness, the universe mirrors that wholeness immediately through opportunities, resources, connections, and experiences matching your new frequency. When you embody your true nature, reality has no choice but to mirror that truth in your external circumstances. Therefore, do not just watch the next video. Receive it as a direct activation of dormant potentials, allowing it to catalyze the coherence already organizing in your awareness. Trust that the information is perfectly timed for your unique consciousness evolution. Your coherent consciousness is needed now, not someday, not after perfection or healing, not when you feel fully ready, but right now. The planet needs individuals who can maintain coherence amidst chaos. Humanity needs pioneers demonstrating consciousness at full potential. The question isn't capability, but willingness to stop interfering with the coherence trying to express through you. Subscribe to this frequency, this understanding that you are not separate from universal intelligence, that quantum coherence is to be allowed, not achieved. Welcome to the field of infinite potential, to your natural state of consciousness, to the version of reality available when you remember who you really are. Welcome to Quantum Reflex.